I've been trying to do this like talks, and I'm really not sure, how people take in what I say sometimes. I hope it just helps. Um, there is a lot of advancements with technology, and we have all this spiritual warfare. We have this inhuman acts, towards el ser humano, your being as a spiritual being. And I believe it's all on purpose, because like all the many generations before us, like there is a knowing of where we're coming from. Everybody should know where we're coming from. And if we truly know where we're coming from, we wouldn't be submitting ourselves into slavery, I don't think anybody has dictated that on purpose. That's my perspective and points of view. Once you really have enough, when you have enough of being a slave, you kind of have to figure many other ways to still be your sovereign being, And I have gone through some experiences where I have broken out of my own mental cages a few times, and there is some also like love cages and different ways of connecting. Like if you're gonna be a slave or something, what are you choosing to be a slave of? Things, studies, lessons, pain, suffering. What are you choosing to be a slave of? What do you choose to give your time to? So I guess not being a slave, but for example, if we are having this technology and automatically we're waking up to grab it without even thinking about it, or are we having some time to process our day and being who we are and moving through our days, and as a way of complementing your day, then you bring the phone, for things that you might need. But ultimately, you should be full reliant on yourself, right? Not on your phone. Like on yourself, on your own wisdom, on your own like knowledge of geology, geography. Yeah, and ultimately having yourself the awareness of the many different layers that you have within yourself, like all the layers that you carry: your emotional body, your physical body, your spiritual body, your mental body. Just what layers are you working out, because whatever layer you decide to focus on, that's the layer that you are empowering. So I know I was empowering a layer of a lot of pain and a lot of sadness and heartbreak. That was really intense. And eventually you kind of like live through all that it's to live with it. And then you have a choice, do you want to stay there or you want to move forward? What do you want to do? Like, okay, like it's not the end of the world. Like you experience what you experience, you live what you live. Doesn't dictate that's who you are. It's not who I am. I am who I choose to be, and who I choose to be is me in the moment, and I have no judgment of it. It's just what it is. It's just who I am, as I am. No judgment, no planning, nothing ahead. Simplemente, simply being as we are. And it's been a journey because I'm still anchoring down the energies from heaven on earth this past weekend. It's been 7 days. And just to be able to find people that are like so truly connected with divinity and their own divinity, and just being devotional towards that connection, like really And as I'm witnessing that, like, I'm also witnessing, like, whoa, what I need to do to stay grounded too from it. Like, you know, I know what's up there, but I also know how I need to stay grounded, you know. And sometimes life has some weird ways to keep you grounded. For me, it has been my children, you know, and the house that I've been living at, just always grounded into what needs to be focused. And you know, with that, it's like the baddest bitch attitude. Like, with that, it's also like full warrior force. Like, the world deserves to feel heaven on earth. So how can I assess my days into propelling that feeling into all of us? It just happens, and we're just there, you know. So I'm contemplating like the best way. And also observing, you know, like having those experiences. We're all different and unique and individuals, and we all have our own gifts, you know, in our own ways, and we'll have worked with ourselves in the ways that we have worked with ourselves. So, you know, there is not comparison or anything. Like, we just have our lives, our missions, and we should be, you know, where we at. But I cannot help to feel, you know, and people definitely look at me a little different, and I cannot help to acknowledge, you know, that I trigger people. And sometimes people want to be triggered, you know, or come up with whatever excuse or solution just to send you the bad vibe, you know. And yeah, I feel like I've been living with that for a long time now, so it's like, yeah, whatever, you know. I'm still gonna live my day. Whatever. Like, every day's a celebration. It's been a celebration, and I was celebrating because I was so like dead inside, you know. Like, I have to celebrate because I died. You just gotta celebrate every day. Every day, celebrate it and not take it for granted, you know, not taking for granted my days. And finding that connection with myself and that divinity, and really nurturing that connection daily really opens like my heart and my being to expand. And expansion allows me to be present with what I'm witnessing in the present moment, and to look at life, you know, in the ways that I live it here is so beautiful. It's so magical. I see it in the wind, you know, like I hear it on the crowds. I see life being life. And I know that there is more than life, you know, that we don't see, but it's there, making itself present, you know. And there's a really cool documentary called The Connected Universe by Nassim Haramein, and he definitely helped me see in between, you know. He helped me see beyond what is matter. I feel like when we're being raised, we're being pointed at objects. That's a tree, that's a trunk, that's the sky, you know, that's person. But if you see in between what surrounds you, what makes the shapes of what's what, you know, then you start seeing the other half of what's matter. And so then you start kind of seeing both now, you know, the matter and the empty space, and what makes up that empty space. And that's what, you know, what gives the shape to the clouds, or makes the magic happen. And I've been practicing, I think in 2018, as around February, March, I had let me think about it. So I had Sahir, Marzo, Abril, Mayo, June. So June time, I devoted myself to feel and nurture bliss within my feelings. Like put out a song that makes me feel bliss. Like just don't drop the vibe, don't drop the vibe. Keep holding on to that feeling, kind of anchoring that feeling. People will come, experiences will happen, but stand in that feeling, bliss, bliss, bliss. What means for you to be bliss? Like, can you melt your heart and let your heart kind of ripple through your body and just like create this little sphere of your own bliss, and you nurture that space so much that you get so used to being in it, and you enjoy it. Like you create your own home, energetic home around you. I had to be by myself a lot, actually. I always enjoy being by myself a lot and studying and learning and asking questions and seeing always like what's more, what's there, what's beyond, what's truly the core of things. And my journey has definitely taken me onto all kinds of experiences, from experiencing lovemaking, like experiencing drinking water in a sacred way, like really getting to nurture that experience with the guidance of water in itself. And that's like what's been powerful, because you start building this relationship with what's around you. And when you do that, you feel this interconnectedness with it. So that's what's been so powerful. Being beacons of light, being light workers, being empaths, being healers, being teachers, and being architects, being biologists, geneticists, chemistry, chemists, scientists, being, just like this self-aware being that observes as it is without any preconceptions and judgments of the experience, but to take it in as it is and embodying it as you're experiencing it. And if it's not a good, pleasant experience, decide when the time is to continue nurturing. So if you become surrounded, after a while, your experience, what opens you, what closes you, what opens, what closes you, you start choosing what you want, so I want to be open all the time, so for that I require my solicitude, and I require not being distracted, but it's also a matter of everything, we're still coexisting with each other. We exist, we're here. So as we're breathing and coexisting with each other, still not drop that connection, still remain connected. And when I went to church and they talk about the Holy Spirit, and when they talk about being flooded by divinity, through love, and how that heals you, and that really does heals you. I experience that. It's like the coherent harmony of everybody's divinity within each other created a little atmospheric field portal that allows us to heal with each other, So I don't know if people know enough about this. This is new for me. I wish I knew. I did not know, but it makes sense, what you cultivate, we're manifesting. If we all cultivate that same feeling, and we can co-create heaven on earth with each other as a birthright, as a way of healing ourselves, and as a birthright that we deserve to honor our divinity and our existence as a sacred expression of, life, just who you are, and you add your own spice to it. We're all unique, you know, but like, how does your divinity looks like with your spice, you know, with your little sprinkles and glitter and stardust, you know, what you're bringing to the table, you know, like what's coming through you, like, you know, really bring the most exquisite things that you can bring to life, you know, like feel really proud of what you're doing. Like, don't just give up halfway, don't just, you know, like stay with it until it's finished, and allow it to continue evolving, you know, as you continue. But like, have a nice angle for experiences, and once that's there, we can continue developing from where we left off, you know. So technology is coming really strong. We are capable of assembling our own team of thinkers, wise ones, you know, people who bring the downloads to life from within. And I think there is again some nice little co-creative something going on. So I would like to figure it out with all of you guys, because I don't know it all. And I'm only so smart too, you know, I can only know so much, and we can only know as we help each other navigate. So information needs to be really heartfelt, very transparent, you know, like what you're sharing can't come from bullshit, you know, like no attitude, no ego shit, no pride shit, no trying to misdeceive or lie, you know, like it has to be pure, honest, you know, like full. We're here, you know, to move forward in a good way. Like, are we here to move forward in a good way? You know, like we can see it. Like, once we are all working through our own healing process, we will be able to see beyond words, beyond actions. You know, you can see the intention already. It's impossible to hide, you know. So we all have to be transparent, you know, super transparent with each other, and accountable, you know, and responsible, you know. And it's okay, it's okay. We can be humble about it, you know, humble about our defaults, you know. Society has programmed us in some ways, and we're outgrowing some others, and we all are helping here each other to navigate again how to move. Rainbow, oh, rainbow. Oh, so magical. I'm like obsessed. That's beautiful. I'm gonna hang now, like rainbow light sword. Let's go. So much light. So you know, it's gonna take holding each other's hands through the hard situation. And we've seen over and over and over and over and over that certain ways are not the way, you know, certain ways are not the way. And there's been stubborn people wanting to sustain those ways, you know. And sometimes people, that's how they learn, you know. I have no idea, they've been conditioned to learn that way. So it takes a lot of patience, you know. It takes a lot of like, you mess up again, huh? It's okay, you know. We're gonna get through this together. Like, we have to make mistakes in order to grow, you know. But that doesn't give you the right to repeat them, you know, now that you know better. So, you know, like, and then why you want to do that to yourself? Why do you want to not live a good life? You know, if you know better, why? Like, that doesn't make sense. If you know better, why are you not doing better? You know, we gotta hold ourselves accountable. Like, you don't gotta wait for your dad, your mom, your teacher, nobody to point something at you. You simply are holding yourself accountable. You go to God, you pray to God, you be honest to God, You tell God your lessons, what you learned, and sometimes we say thank you for the experience because now we know, now we know what we're not meant to be doing. And ultimately, it's your choice, we all have a free will and our choice. So life is meant to be lived in balance and to make sure that you're walking in the perfect way that makes you feel happy, free, enjoy, not guilty, shamed, and that makes you want to hide, like, no, you're here. I do want to say something for myself. Sometimes certain experiences give me anxiety, and sometimes I feel like because we are all contagious with our own energies, sometimes I feel like I'm gonna share anxiety, so I don't want to share my anxiety, so then I keep space, and then I'm just like chilling, like just breathing, like auto sustaining my own fields, so otherwise I don't get so overwhelmed, because my it feels pretty open, and it's a lot. Sometimes it's a lot to be around people, it's powerful, very powerful, especially with like the right people. Like, holy moly, I want to be there more. The right people, they're yummy with their own selves, and they respect themselves, and they really are doing the work with themselves. I don't want to be too harsh. I know that I can be harsh. Like, I'm like, what you like, wake up, like, another day has gone by and you're still there. Another day has gone by and you're still thinking about doing something about it. Like, what the heck? You don't think about it, you just get it done. Like, we accomplish it, we make it happen. Make it happen. So, my phone is probably overheating. Super overheating. So we're just being, guys. The more you continue connecting with your own body, getting to know what you do, what makes you you, what makes you human, what you're carrying, we have our glands, our chakras, our brain. Like, get to know who you are, from the physiology to the spirituality, the source of the core of the essence of what you are. And yeah, this life is fun. Challenge yourself, like, let's see what you can come up with. Let's see, really, like, assemble something incredible, amazing, that serves all of us, like, that helps all of us. Like, you're already carrying something, like, share it and just be it. If you're meant to be that beacon of light that we're meant to like share to the world, just be it. Like, anchor it down. That's like a job in itself. So bye, love.